So the market is way down. Thank you for joining us. And finally, ETH has come down after pumping leading into that merge. Had some news articles I want to share, as well as we have a giveaway to give away some one chain today. Just wanted to do a live stream just to connect with you and see what's on your mind, talk with you, answer some of your questions, maybe even look at some projects that are on your mind. So if there is something on your mind, definitely share it with us. Let me just take a quick second, make sure everything's going well and that we're connected and live. Yes, we are. All right. So the crypto market is way down. I wanted to share some articles telling you how the news gets it wrong related to crypto just about every single time. So why don't we go ahead and get this party started? Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. And if you like money in crypto and you're looking for a seasoned investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. Do note I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a crypto investor myself. I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I don't talk about crypto projects that I don't believe in. There are lots of them. There are 18,000 altcoins out there. And a lot of them have terrible business plans and probably not a good team to carry it off. I tend to cover ones where I like their narrative, their business plan, as well as the team behind it, or specific things about them that I think make them have a higher chance than normal to succeed. We do also want to thank our Patreon members. Thank you. We do have a private Discord that our Patreon members get access to, and we just finished our pre-live stream half hour ago that we do on Fridays for our Patreon members. Now make it rain on that like button and strap in for the show. All right, so the market is down. Let me share. I want to share this article. This is fantastic. A couple articles here. First of all, this is why Cnbc is never a good place to go to for crypto news. So Wednesday, September 14th, they were saying the merge has arrived. Wednesday is your last chance to buy Ether before the historic makeover. Some market experts say the real upside price momentum is set to come after the merge. So let's see, that's Wednesday, September 14th. So if you had bought ETH on Wednesday, September 14th, you would have bought it here, right in here. It's trading around 1625 all the way up to almost 1700, and it's currently trading down here. They have this thing in crypto investing called buy the rumor, sell the news, which means leading up to an event, pumps often happen. And we saw a pump coming up here, coming back down. So actually the pump leading up to the merge pumped it almost, well, a little over 2,000. It then pulled back some of its momentum, started coming up again. And then as the merge happened, like the price has just since fallen off. Now, funny how they cite these experts, right? Who the heck are these market experts? Now, they're not completely wrong. The real upside price momentum will likely come after the merge. Just it wasn't likely that it would come immediately after the merge. Why? Well, there's some macro factors pushing the market in directions that we all wish it wasn't, because if you're here, you're already invested in the market, and we all want our portfolios to go way, way up. The patient understand that, hey, at least while it's down, that gives me more time to accumulate. The patient and the smart think that way. So, but it's hard to be patient and smart long-term because these kind of things weigh on us as human beings. They shouldn't. Logically, we should be the happiest kids in a candy store that ever existed. Why? Because everything's on massive, massive discounts. And isn't that logically when we should be the most excited? So if you were to pull 100 different crypto investors all over the world, what would you gauge the excitement level? Wouldn't be very high. Why? Because the logical thing is we should be super excited right now, but we're emotional creatures as human beings. And this is why only 5% of people make money, massive money in cryptocurrency, which is going to be the next biggest shift in technology since the internet, right? It's going to be huge. Blockchain solves a lot of efficiency problems. It allows a lot more things that the internet can't do without it. And it's going to change the world in many, many ways. And that's coming over the next 10 years. But when the market is down, kind of like when Amazon, after the tech boom, early, I think, ended about 2000, things started going down. And Amazon holders, they sold, and then they sold, and then they sold. Yet Amazon's stock price today is way higher than it was then. Why? Because most people don't last through these downturns. They get emotional, they panic, they sell, and only do they think about it again when prices hit all new highs, and then sometimes they buy right back in. That's why so many people don't make money in crypto. Where the money is made is when things are at lows. That's when you buy. And we all conceptually understand buy low in order to sell high. The bigger question is, why do so few people do it that way? 3 Doritos later too. Hey, what's up, brother? Good to have you here. All right. Just to plant some seeds in there. If you have some projects you want me to look at on today, we can look at them together, or some questions you want me to talk about. We can do that. I just wanted to do this Friday live stream to connect with you all. Another interesting article. Stephen Moore, whoever this is, says the NFT boom is over. Trading volume on OpenSea falls 99%. Was all just a get-rich-quick scheme, wasn't it? Look. Prices fall during a crypto winter. That is not rocket science. But this kind of article, I just had to share it because it's kind of dumb. This is the kind of article that gets a lot of people to read it, which I guess from that part, it's smart. But yes, prices fall when money leaves the market. And guess what? Prices go up when money comes back into the market. So was it smart to buy Bored Apes at like 300,000 for the floor price? I didn't think so. I had no interest. However, it would suggest that the NFT boom is over, and that if you have something like a Bored Ape, the implication is probably should just sell it. Now, I don't know about you. Do you like to sell when prices are high, or do you like to buy? So this might have been a person writing an article about buying when prices were 300,000. Now they're implying maybe a good time to sell. I don't know about you. I don't like to sell when prices are way down. If I had a Bored Ape, I wouldn't be selling into this market. I'd be holding it. Why? Because probably we're somewhere near the bottom, and that prices in the future will be good. For not most NFT profile pics, I'm not a big fan of profile pic NFT projects because most of them, there's so many people creating them. There is a huge abundance, and very few of them are going to be historical and have enough historical significance. I do think projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club hit that historical significance that will be important in the future. And so as money comes back in the market, probably projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club will still be around. What's up, Pete and Nurse Cooper? All right. So the boom has finally gone bust. Yes. Don't you like to buy during the bust and sell during the boom? So what he really should be implying here is, wow, prices are way, way, way down. Time to scoop up some deals. But it's kind of like, oh, no, it's heading down. It's over. And this is why a lot of people reading articles like this think, oh, yeah, I better sell. It's over. That's why 95% of people lose money in crypto. It's really this simple. When everybody is selling and running out the doors, I buy. I then hold. And then just be patient. Sometimes it sucks because sometimes you buy and you find out you didn't buy the bottom and the prices drop another 70% from what you bought at. If you're unlucky, maybe even 80%, and you're just like, oh, crap, I could have bought so much more. But then you know what happens? Things turn around. Market shift from a bear market to a bull market. Then all your holdings you bought during the bear market, or maybe not even all of them survive. Maybe some of them survive, some don't. But then money comes back in the market. The tide comes in and all your boats rise, all the ones that are still surviving. And sometimes even those that didn't survive, their token price pumps, which is a really interesting thing. I think only happens in crypto. And so then as the massive money comes in, yeah, that's when you start realizing your gains. But a lot of people don't have the patience for that. And that's okay. They're not going to listen to me either. Why? Because this is counterintuitive. Like, it's actually intuitive. Every one of you listening right now, you realize this at a conscious level. You're like, okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Buy low so you can sell high. So buy during these big pullbacks. It's not what our emotions tell us to do. And learning to override our emotions with the logical side takes work. So the boom has finally gone bust. Daily visits are down 50% since January 2022. The daily transactions have gone the same way. Yeah. So the bigger question is, when bull market, right? Because we're in the crypto winter. When is it going to end? And that is a hard thing to predict. You cannot predict it exactly, right? Looking at the Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin often kind of sets the table for everything else. So let's look at the Bitcoin chart. So this was, do you all remember last summer, like leading up, we had this big run in March and April, and then it came down, and people here were sounding exactly like the same things I'm hearing now. Now, that doesn't guarantee that we can't go further down here, but the same things that were being said back in this July were being said back here. And so this is music to my ears. I love dumb articles like, well, this one's dumb for a different reason, but dumb articles like this, I love them, right? Because it's a signal that, to me, we're near the bottom. And bottoms don't last for forever. And so I remember this in July, and I was stocking up in July. Now, unfortunately, the whole market didn't pump tremendously since July, but a lot of it did, especially in October. Everything related to metaverse and gaming projects pumped a whole bunch. And then we've had this big correction down like this. So where is this going over time? Well, the overall trend is very bullish because this technology is going to overtake everything for different reasons. Number one, I'm a big fan of blockchain gaming. Why gaming? Well, because blockchain brings some things to gaming that some of the gaming companies don't want to give us, but they're going to have to stay competitive. And that is true ownership. Do you ever wonder why when you played your World of Warcraft account that it wasn't your account, the terms of service, everything you had on that belonged to Blizzard and not to you? Well, because they could do that. But what does blockchain give gaming now? It gives you true ownership of your items. Maybe even your account, but in a lot of cases, at least your items. So that even if you should make them mad, maybe you say something politically they don't want you to, or whatever thing they come up with, if you truly own those items, you can still sell those items. Those are yours. And because of true ownership, money in gaming can be so much bigger than it ever was before, right? Because now you're not just renting items, you can own them. And in a lot of games, ownership will have value. In some of the games that come out of blockchain gaming, people will have careers from those games. And so say land items, or sometimes even flex items that are a social flex, will have massive value in those games that come out. That's why I'm continually looking at the gaming sector for what games possibly could do well. If you didn't see my interview with the Kitsumon founders, they just introduced breeding. I've been having this fun this week doing breeding with my Kitsumon. And Kitsumon has some good things about it. Do I know Kitsumon's going to make it? There are a lot of games coming in to make it. I do like a lot of things I see coming out of Kitsumon, though. I was an early investor in Gods Unchained as well as Axie Infinity, and both of those did really, really well, particularly Axie Infinity. And I think there's many more games in the future that can do incredibly well. All right, let me check it out. Nurse Cooper says, making it rain, baby. I love it. It's going to be amazing when a lot of money comes back in the market. And for many of you, this is going to be your first massive wild ride. Now, I started this channel in like December, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. But of course, you know, when you start out, your first subscriber is like your spouse. And then like maybe a few like brothers and sisters or family members or close friends. And so it wasn't until like February or March that I even had like more than like 500 or 1,000 subscribers. And so my reach wasn't very big. So a lot of my audience didn't have time to listen to the principles I was sharing, put them into practice before the big run up in March, right? So this next run, when we have it, will be the first time that my audience has really been able to benefit from these principles that have benefited me. And I'm looking forward to seeing how well they do. It's going to be awesome. All right. Okay. Did you invest in nodes, Ponzi nodes back in Q3? The damage that strong. I didn't get a strong node. I didn't invest in strong nodes. I just didn't. There wasn't enough substance to it. These were pumping, and people were like, "Oh, these strong nodes." Yeah, it just wasn't for me. I didn't even give it. I did look into a little bit. Didn't give it too much time. It just didn't hit the right boxes for me. I like a strong narrative or business plan, a strong team, and it's got to make sense to me. And that didn't. DeFi Kingdom's Jewel token, Johannes wants us to look at. Okay. Let's check out some of these projects that are coming from our viewers. All right. Coin market cap will be fine. Jewel, DeFi Kingdom. All right, so it was once over $22. It's currently trading for 99% reduction from there. Let's look at its market cap is just over 11 million. Fully diluted market cap is close to 90 million. So only a fraction of the supply is in circulation. But that's really typical on a lot of early game projects, video game projects. So it has pulled back a lot, but probably very little was in circulation supply here. So it came out, at least it's showing up on Coin Market Cap at starting in November of last year. So they're coming up on a year. DeFi game built on the blockchain, designed with usable NFTs. Okay. All right. This is the one that came out on Harmony One's platform. Okay. And using the Uniswap V2 protocol. Secure, fast, extremely low trading fees. You'll be earning rewards in no time. So DeFi really was a really interesting concept. Really started to pump in June and July of 2020. A lot of money came into it. And so some of these projects are like, hey, why don't we gamify it more, make it more fun? And then those projects should do even better when DeFi comes back in. And that's what it looks like this is mostly about, right? The problem is DeFi hasn't come strongly back in since March of last year. So the prior year in 2020, in June and July, it did amazing, and then it corrected downward. But March of last year, when everything pumped, DeFi again pumped. But since then, a lot of momentum hasn't gone to DeFi, but it will. Like, it'll come back strong in the narrative, and that's when games like this might do well. So it's hard for me to get too deep into what this is about. But it looks like essentially they've gamified it. Equipment heroes will be able to craft, equip, trade, equipment NFTs. The mythic amulets will be awarded to lucky winners who hold a minimum threshold of X jewel tokens in their jewel jeweler balance by December 15th, 2021. So it really looks like they're gamifying it, much as Chain, Zookeeper gamified DeFi on Chain. And I've covered Zookeeper a number of times. I have a bunch that I farm with it, and they gamified it in some fun ways. Looks like DeFi Kingdoms probably takes the gamification even a little step further. Their token's down 99%. Let's see if we can learn anything else about their backers. That usually makes a difference. Their backers or their team. Team here. I prefer to see their pictures, but sometimes on DeFi projects, they're somewhat anonymous. They're definitely anonymous here, right? We don't know that these are their real names. Dragon T is definitely not a real name. Chonk Norris, definitely not the real name. Beetle Dude. So whenever the team is not fully doxed, there's always a risk to that, right? They're a lot more likely to close shop and not survive through the crypto winters. Why? Because their reputation isn't on the line, because nobody knows that they're running these projects. When their reputation is on the line, they're a lot less likely to close up shop and disappear. But it isn't completely unheard of that people running DeFi projects are anonymous. That happens a lot. Okay. What are my thoughts on HTR? Hathor. I think we reviewed this on our Thursday videos with Paul not too long ago. So recently, is it a price to, what is that, about 235? It's all the way down to 9 cents. Oh, under 9 cents. So 8 cents right now. Okay, massive retracement. I like that. I'd like to buy cheap. Let's see what we can learn about the project. Hathor Network. Scalable and easy to use blockchain for digital assets. Mainnet, live mainnet. Okay, so at least it's live. We got to understand why they're different. And here it looks like they want to tell us. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, so my apologies. Geez. There we go. Here we go. Hathor, why we are different. They're trying to tell us the latest feature combined with a scalable, decentralized architecture. So the latest features. Our technology is a natural evolution of Bitcoin's blockchain, achieving 200 plus TPS with no central coordinator or master nodes. A scalable blockchain where anyone can create their own token in less than a minute. No need to know about gas solidity, ERC20. So they're supposed to be simplified. 200 plus TPS is not going to cut it for the future. Should be fine now, but in the future, it's going to need to be able to handle a lot more than that. Okay, so they use both the decentralized acyclical graph and blockchain intertwine, which is interesting. So a DAG isn't truly a blockchain. It's a different way of solving security issues, right? So a blockchain is essentially a ledger where it has all the transactions on it. A DAG is a different way to try to handle the same problem of basically verifying transactions and making sure that the person really did send the money or the cryptocurrency. So they're using both. That is interesting. I hope they can hit higher transactions per second. Okay. Create your own token with just a few clicks. Let's go back to some important numbers on it. The market cap's only 20 million. Fully diluted market cap is 4x of that. So about just under 25% of it is in supply. So let's be real with the concerns with this and the potential upside. Concerns is, yay, we're another blockchain. Look at us. We can do things better. There are a lot of third generation blockchains out here, and it's a competitive field. So many of these are not going to make it 10 years from now. And Hathor possibly falls into that category. Does that mean it can't do well in the next from now until the next bull run? No, it doesn't mean that at all. In fact, a lot of these will not go away during that time frame. And who knows, Hathor might really be special. A lot of that comes down to the team, their connections, how many projects can they get using their blockchain, right? Because at the end of the day, I think most projects will only be using 4 or 5 blockchains in the future, like the 4 or 5 that grab the most amount of traction. And are they going to be one that gets the most amount of traction? Okay, we see Yan, Martin, Marcelo, something. Okay. Pedro, D. Okay, so looks like a team possibly out of Spain based on the names, maybe out of Portugal. I don't know. I don't know enough about how much traction they're getting to know whether they have even a chance of it long term. That would be my concern. The short term, I do take a lot of trades. So I have no idea if they'll make it long term, because I feel like from now to when the market swings up again, they'll survive that time period and possibly have really good returns. So that's just my thoughts on Hathor. DXY, the dollar index, is making new highs, says Ryan S. Buckle up, guys. Ugh. Yes, but at some point that will swing down, and when it does, is going to be big. Now, this is what most people are thinking. Thank you, Gitzo TW. Most people are thinking this, and this is why I think it's actually going to happen sooner, but I don't know. If it doesn't happen sooner, probably it will happen in the next 2 years, because what goes down also goes up. This technology, there's so much adoption happening for the actual technology that the price has to follow at some point, because there are real solutions coming out of blockchain that create better efficiencies, create things that the internet couldn't do without blockchain. So at some point, the price will follow. Let's just keep pushing adoption, and the price that'll bring the price up sooner, because the network effects of adoption, I just will be big. All right. Bill Gardner, what's up? Love to hear what my favorite gaming project is. That is a great question. For investment, I don't know. I'm diversified across a bunch. You all know that I have some in Litcraft. I bought a whole bunch of their pets and some of their land. They're running on a blockchain that can do literally millions of transactions per second. The blockchain's called Devio, and I have a huge investment in Devio. So I might even be biased because my investment in Devio, and then also additional investment, and I do work as an advisor for them. I love the lore and the narrative. The gameplay, I like the economics of the gameplay, and it has probably the most advanced gameplay out there for any game on the blockchain, in that you can already do some different things, and that's going to get augmented. Their PvP will be coming out soon, but right now, even playing against a computer, the gameplay against the computer is pretty basic. There are some people starting to figure out which of the different lit pets have better strengths for the battles, and starting to see the right things out of there. But the gameplay is, as far as the battling, is still in pretty early days. I'd like to see a lot more development out there. I would love to see like a Call of Duty on the blockchain, or with true ownership, right? I would love to see a World of Warcraft with true ownership. That's the type of game that I would probably play a lot more, especially if it were a space simulator. Like, imagine Star Citizen, which has been in development for, I don't know, going on 11 or 12 years now, from early concepts. They say, well, it wasn't in development then. Okay. So I first heard about it, I think, in 2015, and it was already under development for years at that point. And it's still in its alpha. You can't actually play the game, just doesn't have persistence. But imagine a game like Star Citizen had true ownership, that all those ships, like, you own. There wasn't this terms of service that it might get yanked away from you at any time. That would be amazing. That would be my ideal type of game to play. As for investment, I like some interesting things that Cetus is doing. I'm really glad I ran into Dan their CEO at the NFT conference in New York City. I like the breeding with Kitsumon has been extremely cool, and they're doing a land sale coming up. And the land has some cool properties. In fact, some of your kitsus have some passive abilities that can benefit your land. Really interesting ideas on how that is coming up. As far as the gameplay goes, they will have MOBA, like 5-on-5 type of battles. They'll also have PvE, person versus the environment, that you go out and accomplish some quests. If the actual gameplay isn't part of it yet, so I don't know what the gameplay is going to look like. As for whether I will play that game, I'm definitely have investments in that game. Cetus could be one that I played down the road. They do have a playable part right now. Ugh, it's so boring, and I lose and get my butt kicked all the time because I didn't play early enough in the early days in order to get some of the weapons. And so now the people you get matched against have weapons and armor. And it's not that you can't beat them. Your chance of beating them are just low. And a lot of other games that are being built don't have anything out, right? So Myria has a whole number of games coming out. Gala has a number of games, and some of them are out, right? Or at different levels of alpha or beta testing. And Gala is one of the networks that really got in this earlier, right? Myria is coming a little bit late, but definitely not too late, and they're making a big splash. So they'll probably have a number of games built on their layer 2 in the coming year. Gala is definitely doing some great things. What other investments? I still have all my Gods Unchained cards. What else on my mind for play to earn gaming or just blockchain gaming? Let's talk about blockchain gaming for a second. It's not clear where everything's going to go. Let me just change the camera view. Great question. But it's hard to tell who's going to be a winner. And perhaps there's even multiple winners, right? Meaning that when money comes back in the market, if blockchain gaming is part of the narrative that everyone gets excited about, every game with a pulse will tend to pump and possibly pump tremendously. So that's what I'm hoping happens, and that's probably what will happen. The games that really get massive adoption will pump more, like we saw massive adoption with Axie Infinity. So Axie Infinity pumped a lot more than another investment I had made in a game called Gods Unchained, the developers of which are the ones that created the Immutable X blockchain. And they created that because they couldn't continue to run their network on ETH because the ETH transaction fees were too high. It made it impossible to trade your cards and stuff. So they had to create their own blockchain, and that was Immutable X. Both of them successful, but because Axie got so much adoption, obviously my investment in that pumped far more than my investment in Gods Unchained did. What other games? Like, I would love to see Star Atlas do well. Illuvium's probably one that's most on my mind. Kieran Warwick, after I interviewed him, I was like, this guy is brilliant. He's going to do great things with Illuvium, was my best guess. Now, I haven't been buying their token yet because I'll show you why. Number one, I have this rule that I don't FOMO into things, right? And their price was going absolutely crazy, and people were like, oh my gosh, Illuvium's just going to keep going up. Now, I first became aware of Illuvium when its price was in the $300 range. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm not going to chase into that pump. Now, I could have chased into it, and if I had then sold, I would have been up. But the reason I'm not buying is because I'm not seeing enough of a bottoming on the token itself. Now, I have made some purchases in their land. In fact, I probably put 20,000 into their land. Why? Well, their land has come down some because ETH prices have fallen and stuff, and some people have panicked, sold out. I bought a bunch the day of the land sale, some tier 3s, some tier 2s, and some tier 1 lands. And no tier 4s, definitely not a tier 5. I'm not looking for that type of investment in it. But yeah, I like land in projects that I think have a good shot of success. And I think Illuvium has a good shot of success. And I'll probably buy some more of their token as I see a better bottoming pattern. It just isn't rounded enough. is still heading down. And I think the pre-sale price was somewhere around $3 to $9. And we're still, even if it was $9, we're still like 6x up from that. So as I see it go below 30, I'm going to start getting really interested in their token too. Their fully diluted market cap is much, much higher. Their market cap's now only 35 million. But here is when a lot of people were buying it, and then they've been selling out at these lower positions. And this is a perfect example of why so many people don't make money in crypto. I considered it too late at $300. And so I did miss the rest of this ride. But now it's not like I was wrong, because now it's a heck of a lot cheaper even than $300. So yeah, I'm just waiting for a good entry to pick up some of their token, because I do believe this game's going to be cool. Now, whether this is going to dominate the future, that's really hard to tell. I think this has a chance of that, but there are a lot of competing things out there going for that. Star Atlas, I would love to see successful. Cetus NFT Hero. Cetus has some really cool things that they're doing, but good games take 5, 6, 8, 10 years to build. And so some of these blockchain games have gotten smart in that they introduce little mini games. So at least there's something to keep you occupied to do while the game is being built. And I love that about them. All right. Very stranger. Thank you. Says good work, man. Let's see. 3 Doritos later to ask, what will be your 3 best coins to accumulate in your 3 best NFT plays? Well, okay, so my 3 favorite NFT plays that I think will do tremendously well is VV's Darth Vader. Even just the commons. The commons are trading under 100 gems, which is equivalent to $100. I didn't even know. They might be down at 70. I haven't checked in a little while. In fact, we can check. And some people will argue with me and say, oh, but those aren't NFTs because they're not on the blockchain. They are on the Immutable X blockchain. You can't send them over to OpenSea right now. So they're right in that there's some risk. If your account gets blocked or banned for some reason, you are some risk that you then don't have the ability to sell. That isn't what I needed. That is what I wanted. Okay, so commons are selling right now for 89 is the cheapest one. This is the first Darth Vader that I'm aware of on the blockchain. It's a big deal. This one is an animated one, and it's all the way down to 940 gems. This is one of my favorite NFT picks out there, even though some people will argue with me and say it's not an NFT. I think this one is, I love it. Now, I was telling people about the Todd McFarlane Batman on the VV app, which was the first Batman on the blockchain a year and a half ago in March of last year. And that one, even after the pullback, that one went from $80 to $16,000 and now has retraced. Why is it sharing all these? Those are not Batman black and white. So come on, share with us. I don't know why it's doing this. It's a little bit messed up right now. Okay. Here's the Todd McFarlane Batman. So even though it's retraced tremendously, the floor is still at roughly $1,200 from $80. First Batman on the blockchain. This Todd McFarlane Batman. There is a physical one of these. This was the digital version of it, but the first Batman on the blockchain, done tremendous. So my number 2 NFT pick is along these same lines. It's also on the VV app, and that is the Boba Fett. Let's see, brands. I have a hard time picking the right Star Wars one that it's from, but essentially the Boba Fett. And the floor on the ultra rare has come down a lot. I don't know. Maybe this will get it to us. see if we can find it. I'm a big fan of Boba Fett, and Boba Fett tends to appreciate really well. Yeah, and it's not going to pull it up. I don't know why, but I know I have one in my collection. In fact, I have a bunch of them. Okay, so I have 5 ultra rares. I need to stock up clearly on some more of the other ones because I only have 1 uncommon, 1 common. But I bought 5 ultra rares. And so I need to, looks like the floor is 135 gems, which is really cheap. So that the ultra rare version of that, let's see what the common is going for. Common 21 gems. Okay, I'm definitely going to pick up some more Boba Fetts. Why? Well, I think it's actually not the first Boba Fett on the blockchain, but I still think it's going to do tremendously well. And so, yeah, there's of the common version, there's 12,000 total. So those would be my first 2 NFT plays. My third NFT play, I would say land NFTs, right? I did incredible on the Axie Infinity land. I have land in Amber Sword. I want to get some in Kitsumon. I have some in Illuvium, some in Sandbox. I don't have any in Decentraland. I kind of missed the boat on that in the early days because I wasn't following it, and then I didn't want to FOMO in. You know, they initially sold it like 90, and then the floor was 1,000. Yeah, they went up from 1,000 to what, like 12 or 13,000. But Sandbox, I was buying for about 200, and they also went to 13,000. So I got a better ROI by buying Sandbox than I did if I had tried to buy Decentraland and FOMO in. So I would say land NFTs. It's really hard to pick which NFT, like profile pick ones, are going to be around 50 years from now. So what I look for is like massive intellectual property. And you might not see as high of price appreciation. Obviously, we did on that Batman. We possibly will on Boba Fett and Darth Vader. But there's no guarantees. There will probably be other projects that go from $80 to like 500,000. But being able to identify accurately which ones those are is, you might as well be pulling a slot machine at the casino hoping you hit the $5 million jackpot. It's so hard to accurately identify it. So even though like the Darth Vader might not and the Boba Fett might not appreciate as much percentage wise as some of those ones that totally hit the jackpot, it's got a higher probability to be way more successful than not. That's why I go that way. Great question here. Gets OTW. Do I still have my freeway token? Absolutely. And I check my account every couple days because it keeps accumulating in my account. I have half my freeway token in the platform staked, and you get a reward. If you're interested in learning more about freeway token, I've covered it in a number of videos, as well as if you use my link below, you can get a little bit better rewards. I think it makes you about 1% or just under 1% more. But essentially, I only have some in their Bitcoin supercharger, which gets a remarkably high return of like, what is it, up to 43%. I have some in the USD supercharger, but the bigger position I have by far is in their actual token, half of which I have in the platform staked. And you can stake your freeway token on the platform to earn some extra rewards towards one of your superchargers. So I have those rewards, I think, going into the Bitcoin supercharger from my freeway token. So yeah, I pretty much earn on that every day, and that's kind of exciting. I like to check it. It compounds. I think the returns compound daily, and it's just kind of fun. Is it risky? It is. We saw that Celsius and Voyager were risky in different ways than freeway token is, but I would assess similar amounts of risk between Celsius and the freeway token platform. And we saw, but the type of risk is very different. The reasons that things could go bad are different. So both Celsius and Voyager ran into some massive problems because money they had loaned out, my understanding of it, money they had loaned out got invested on longs and got liquidated, and then they couldn't pay back that collateral to Celsius, which meant Celsius couldn't give their own users their money back. And so they ran into some massive problems. Abe says, Rain, you'll be happy to hear I sat on the like button. I'm glad you sat on the like button. Thank you. So the Illuvium pre-sale, $3.33, says Vasco. Good information. Thank you. Have I monetized in real life any VV gain? Great question. Very, very little, right? So they don't even allow outside transactions anymore. I kept most of it, though. I said to a friend, my VV portfolio, I probably put about 20,000 into it, maybe a little bit more. And the total portfolio value was at like 680,000 back in January. And I said, if I were a complete logical human being with no emotion at all, I would sell everything at these prices and just hold. And I was like, the problem is I love some of this stuff. So I did sell, right? I had 5 Todd McFarlane Batmans between my wife and I. We sold 2 of them, sold a bunch of these. They also have digital comics. And let's see, market comics. So when their digital comics first came out, some of the first ones they released were, this was one of them, but they had Marvel #1, and I bought a whole bunch of those, the common ones, because unfortunately I didn't get the secret rare, but people were reselling the commons, even though they had dropped at $7 a piece. People were reselling the common ones for like $3 and $4 and $5. And I bought the whole floor, and then I bought the whole floor again, and then I forgot to keep going back. Well, those pumped to like $700. So I probably sold about 10 at the $700 price point. There was some Spider-Man #1s. So I don't think they're all pulling up here, which sometimes I have problems with the computer app in that not everything pulls up. And it might just be my massive ADHD that I'm just missing it. But I think it's because here's Marvel Comics #1. So now they've retraced from the $700 that they were at down to $78, but it's still way, way up from the $3 or $4 that I was paying. Another one that this one's really cool. I mean, for somebody who's buying one of these, I remember they were immediately on resale for like $1,200. So they're still up massively over that. But this is the Marvel Comics #1, the secret rare version. The other one that did really well was the Spider-Man #1, but not quite as well. And I bought a bunch of those as well. I bought a bunch more of them. The Spider-Man #1s, these ones. One of the amazing Spider-Man #1s, one of the challenges with this, and I did get, I think I have 2 of these secret rares. So they're all the way back down to $1,900. But yeah, these went all the way to like $400, and they're back down to $33. One of the challenges with this one, though, is the total number of them is quite high. There's total editions, 60,000 editions. So, but it is the Amazing Spider-Man #1. So I unfortunately sold not very much because I still believe in the bigger future of these. So I did take some profits. My internal mechanisms were screaming at me to sell some stuff, but I had 2 Spider-Man secret rares, the collectibles, and those were going for about 95,000, I think 90,000 a piece. And it would have been nice to sell one of them. But I didn't, though I did sell about $35,000 worth. The problem is when prices came back down, I reinvested that $35,000 above where the floor is now. So, and I may have taken a few thousand off site. I can't confirm or deny that on this, because it's not exactly smiled upon by VVU doing that, especially these days. Hey, but still have the majority of my SolBank tokens. Any chance it comes back from the dead? Yes, SolBank is a project I was hoping would do well. They're a privacy project on Solana. Solana has not performed well in the last year at all. That doesn't mean it won't. I still think it will. But SolBank ended up closing up shop and closing their doors. They were an anonymous team. This is the problem with an anonymous team. They're way more likely to not weather through the hard times because their reputation is not behind it. And so SolBank ended up closing their doors. I still have all my SolBank too. Sometimes when things pump, sometimes the teams do come back to life, but sometimes even if they don't, the token still does well. It shouldn't, but it does. The Dow is tanking. Yeah, that's not too surprising, really. Yes, Ryan S., let's do a on-chain giveaway. And now's a good time for it. We have last week and this week's on-chain to give away, so a total of 250 on-chain to our winner. And the first person to tell me the CEO of OneChain is our winner today. And if you are a winner, what I need from you is I need you to put your Telegram address below. Ryan S. Okay, so Ryan S. Yeah, we need your Telegram. George Alamany Herrera. I love it, Frank. That is not it. Ryan S. was the first one that shows up on my screen. We have to use who shows up on my screen, because whenever you put your own answer in there, immediately comes into your feed. Doesn't go hit the database and then come back in. And so oftentimes you'll show up as winning everyone else, but it's the one that shows up on my screen first that wins. So Ryan S., I need to make sure I've got your Telegram. Just if we've already exchanged on Telegram, shoot me a message. If not, I need your Telegram address here. It is Jack Liu. Fantastic guy. He joined us on the channel before. In fact, we're probably going to have one of their scientists join us again. Dr. Ouija, he's super brilliant. So I'm going to see if we can line that up possibly for next month. OneChain is one of the projects that I believe in. Their price did go all the way to 240 during like last March's run up. I still think it can do much, much better. It was almost $10 back in 2018, shortly after they launched. They have delivered very well on what they plan to do. Like, this is one of the projects that I've seen continue to have some of the smartest people delivering very well that hasn't necessarily got the highlights it's deserved. Yet, I mean, they have not gotten the highlights that all their amazing work has done yet, but that doesn't mean it won't. So I still hold a lot of OneChain myself, and my position has grown over time. So I'm a big fan of this project. They've been great to work with. I was covering them a long time before they became a strategic relationship of ours. But they are fantastic. Really like them. You can see at the bottom right of the screen, partners, OneChain. They are strategic partners with us, and that's how we get the OneChain that we give away every week. All right. Let me see. Ryan riding the fiber line as Jester typing on Telegram. Okay, cool. I got it. Cool. So, and I have your Juan Mask address. Perfect. So I'll get that sent over to you. Congrats to Ryan. Any other question before we wrap up? I love Frank. This was awesome. Jorge Alemani Herrera. I think he just made that up to be funny, which would make it even more funny if he did. That is hilarious. Any other thoughts or questions? Now, I know we haven't talked about this in a while. Many of you are single, some are not, and you have great families. But we talk about life-changing gains, and often leads to wife-changing gains, and it's true. Most of the people in crypto right now are men. So directed at men, like honestly, a lot is required of us as men, a lot. We have to be good, become good at a lot of things that we don't often do, right? So often we fulfill the role of provider, not always, but provider, but also like there's a lot of pressure, and it's rightly justified pressure for us to work and grow ourselves and develop and become something great and incredible ourselves. And if you do that, that does attract a better quality woman than we can often get in our early years. So if I was married for 10 years, ended in total flames. I got married at the age of 24, lasted 10 years. And, I didn't understand things because I was so young and naive. Didn't understand things about mental illness and other things. Yeah. Now I'm happily married again, have a great wife. She's fantastic. I did a lot better job screening the second time around. All right. First Google name. Frank says first Google name coming up. That's so funny. Zach. Yeah, no worries. You can catch the replay if you're interested. Good to have you all joining us. It's fun to go live with you on a Friday. Love you all. The rains are coming, and I hope they come in a couple months. They may not. It's really hard to tell the exact timing of when things will happen. Just know that when we're down near this murky bottom is a great time to dollar cost average. When the market turns around, and it will, that's a great time to start taking some profits. And maybe in the coming month or two, I'll share some of the different taking profit strategies. Again, it's been quite a while since we talked about those. It'd be good to have those kind of fresh in your mind so that when things start to happen, there's a lot of craziness. It's good to start to have an idea of when take profit zones are for you, so you don't forget to take profits when things go crazy. Just know the crypto market is slow, but these good decisions made during these pullbacks lead to life-changing ones. And for some of you single men out there, wife-changing decisions when the market turns around. The rains will come again. The projects that have planted their seeds well and nurtured them will flourish. And those of you who have found, invested in, been patient with your projects, your portfolios will also flourish. Javier Morales says, hey, what's up, bro? Is OMI token still good investment? I own a crap ton of it, is what I will say. Your choice what you buy. Can't tell you what to buy, but I have a lot myself, so I'm very bullish on it. Thanks so much, everyone. This wrap is for you to reinforce the principles that I share.
To the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, buy before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I take the one out, cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, to leave it a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to studying to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this road, cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, let the haters be crafting. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I'll follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.